Are you struggling to understand your business numbers? Are you wanting to take your business to the next level? Well, each week here on the Local Small Business Coach podcast, we dive into your business to help you not only understand the business numbers that matter, but we will discuss how to use them to increase your profits. Hi, I'm Tammy, and I'm on a mission to help our badass local business owners take their business to the next level. So if you're a badass or a badass in the making, let's get this party started. Hey, badass business owners, welcome back to the show. It's Thursday, one of my favorite days, because we're going to talk about some numbers. And today we're going to talk about doing the local math. Yes, the math. We're going to keep it local. And what on earth am I talking about? We're going to revisit a topic that we're going to continue to talk about because I'm telling you it is one of the keys to your success. Is I want you to make sure that you're always looking at your market. And we're going to do a little bit of math to go along with that. So bear with me. I'll make it easy. I promise. You've heard me say over and over that you really need to focus your business on a 5-mile radius. And now for some of you that might be 7, for some of you that might be 3, for some of that might be 10. It really depends upon your population density. But for the vast majority of you, you can really focus on that 5 miles. So take the spirit of what I'm saying, because really what it's about is not running all over the place to get sales. Because way too many people chase every sale everywhere instead of focusing on exactly what you should. The last episode, I mentioned the guy that had done $2,000 more in sales, but he did $17,000 more in business. Well, one of the things that he cut out was running all over the place. And you should see he saved $5,000 alone just on his auto because of not running all over the place. So you can kind of extrapolate that out, how much more money he saved for different reasons. But from his auto and his maintenance and his employees, time being out running all over the place, I mean, it really did make a big difference in his business. And it's important that for each of us, we're constantly looking at that 5-mile radius. And a lot of times people will go, well, you don't understand. I already do a lot of business in that 5 miles and there's just nothing more to be given. Well, I want to challenge you on that. Okay, because I do this exercise all the time with people, and it's really an eye-opener when you realize how much business there is for you. Now, obviously, depending upon your business, you're going to have an ideal customer or client, and it all starts with that. For example, if you in your 5-mile radius where you live or where your business is based off of, let's just say you do garage doors. Yet you live in a community with carports. There are no garages. Well, obviously that's not your 5-mile radius. So I'm talking about your ideal 5-mile radius. So I don't need smart asses coming back telling me, well, you don't understand. There's no garages in my area. Or there's no people that would, okay, look, you got to be smart. You got to try to figure out who your ideal customer is, who your ideal client is, and go from there. So for example, if your ideal client happens to be in their 60s or 70s, then you're not going to focus on a community that's not full of those individuals. You're going to go look for those 55 plus communities or pockets that have a higher chance of you snagging one of those fish. Okay? That's really what you want to do. You don't go looking for a penguin in the desert. That is just not going to happen. So what you have to do is you have to be able to go figure out what's the best 5 miles for you. And that's going to be the formation of your 5-mile radius is where you're going to go. So first off, let's get that clear and let's get that on the table. The second part is, let's say you've identified where your 5-mile radius is. Now, one of the things that I hear all the time is there's, like I said earlier, there's not enough business. You don't understand, blah, blah, blah. Okay. First off, do you even know how much potential business is in that mile radius? That's the first thing you need to figure out. And yeah, you're going to have to do a little bit of homework on this, but I promise you, it's the best homework that you're going to do. So for example, let's just say you live in an area that has subdivisions. Subdivisions are the easiest, obviously. And let's just say that you're standing on a corner and there's a different subdivision going off in each of the 4 corners, northwest, south, east. Okay, you got 4 corners there, right? And let's just say there's the beginnings of 4 different subdivisions. So we're just going to take a nice simple one right now for everybody. And let's just say each of those subdivisions have approximately 2,000 homes. households. Now, some might have 1,800, one might have 22, but let's just say on average they're 2,000. So on that corner, you're not even looking at a 5-mile radius. You might be looking at a 1-mile radius when you spread that sucker out. So we're taking it down even smaller. All right. Now, let's just say once again, you got 2,000 on each of those corners for those 4 different subdivisions. Well, we know that if we do our basic math, 4 subdivisions times 2,000 households, there's 8,000 households of potential customers or clients. Now, what I want you to then do is ask yourself, okay, when I look at per week, how often am I in those 4 subdivisions? Let's just say that you're in one of those 4 subdivisions 5 times a week. You happen to do something in each of them once a week. Well, 5 times a week means, let's just say you work 50 weeks a year. You take 2 weeks off for vacation, only because I like simple math. Obviously, you'd use your real numbers. That means that in those 4 subdivisions, you've done 250 jobs by the end of the year at the rate that you're going. And if you think about it, 250 jobs, because that's 5 times 50, it's 250. So you've got 250 jobs, but yet you have 8,000 households. So if we take the 250 jobs divided by the 8,000 households, guess what? You have done 3% business in those households. Don't tell me you need to go look for more subdivisions. We haven't even gotten to the 5 miles. We're just looking at the 1-mile radius of these 4 subdivisions, and you've got 3% of the business. There's 97% more business that you can gain in that subdivision. Will you get all 100%? No. But can you imagine? You wouldn't even know what to do with yourself if you had just 20% of that business in most cases. Now, you might say, okay, Tammy, I do way more than that in those 4 subdivisions. Okay, let's just say you do 20 jobs a week in those 4 subdivisions. What does that look like? Well, if we do 20 jobs in those 4 little subdivisions and we do it 50 weeks, we've got 20 times 50, right? Which gives us 1,000 jobs. Oh yeah, 1,000 jobs in those 4 subdivisions. But once again, we know we have 8,000 households. So 1,000 divided by 8,000 tells us you've gotten 12.5% of that business. 12.5% of that business. Nothing to sneeze at. That is awesome. But once again, you don't need to go to 50 other subdivisions if you can figure out how can you dominate these particular subdivisions, because guess what? There is what's that 87.5% more business to be gained out of those subdivisions. Can you see how domination and dominating those particular areas can be a huge difference? Now, obviously, you need to change these numbers to fit your particular situation. For example, for some people, they might be able to work on an apartment complex. Well, there are apartment complexes that have 300 units, 200 units. That's a lot of individual households within that area. Now, apartments can range dramatically from low-end apartments to high-end apartments. You obviously need to make sure that what it is that you offer in your service, you're targeting the right people. Once again, you need to mirror your 5-mile radius where your ideal client is, and then mash the 2 together and do the math. My biggest thing that I want to get across to you is, if you haven't already done the math of potential business and you're spending so much time running all over the place trying to pick up business, I'm telling you, if you focus your time, your energy, and your money into these smaller radiuses, start at 1 mile, then go to 2 miles, then go to 3 miles, and work your way up to that 5 miles. Whatever the case may be, I want you to do the math. Because, for example, in my town, we know we have 57, we don't know yet because we're going to do what am I thinking of? The census coming up, but we know we're going to hit over that 50,000 people mark. So maybe let's just say it's 52, 53. All right. That's a lot of households, a lot of people out there. And then when you look at the households, you got 20,000 households. That's still a lot of people that are out there. And there's no need to go to another city or town when you're in a town that's at 50 today and is going to grow to 123
or whatever it's going to end up being, how do you dominate that area? So each of you have something different. If you're in a highly density populated place, my gosh, you could probably throw a stick and not have to go very far. But if you're rural and you're going to have a much larger radius, if somebody in my town is concentrating on acreage homes, you know what? The miles is going to be much bigger. But once again, there's a definite defined area that they can focus that business on and be able to become a hero even on our acreage, even though the miles might be a little bit longer. But it's definitely a group of individuals like-minded with the same kind of needs. They can really make a killing on it. So everybody's area is different. I totally get it, but you can take the same concepts of doing the math and figuring out how much potential business is out there. So this way you can spend those marketing dollars smartly, and you can control a lot of those expenses that you're not bouncing all over the place. Because when you're bouncing all over the place, not only are you losing time, you're losing gas, your wear and tear on your vehicle, and you're crisscrossing each other. And it's just, there's so many ways that you leave profit on the table when you don't concentrate on that area. So today's episode, we're kind of concentrating on two things at the same time. One, doing the math. Two is re-emphasizing why you want to stick to that 5-mile rule for the majority of your business. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and check out. Hopefully you had a nugget, an aha moment. Go do the math. Go figure out what your radius is, how many households, how many ideal clients. Go figure that out. It's a good exercise for you to do. You're going to have a lot of aha moments by spending that time doing that. And if you've done it already, fantastic. I get people that reach out to me all the time on my emails, or I'll do coaching calls, and people have actually played with this and they've seen a lot of success. So it's something I'm going to continue to talk about because, like I said, I'm hearing all kinds of good stuff when I'm talking to people when they focus on this, and I really like it. It really does hit your bottom line really well. And if that's your ultimate goal is to increase those profits, then this is a winner. So this is a nugget you need to always remember. All right, with that, you get out there, kick some ass, and we will talk on the next episode. Bye for now. Okay, badass business owner, don't you think it is time that you learn how to read your profit and loss income statement? Now, I know you don't have time. I know you hate numbers. I know you're afraid of what you're going to find. But it is time to suck it up, buttercup, and learn to read and understand the most important report in your business. Your profit and loss income statement shows you the flow of money in and out of your business. Don't you think it's time that you started to pay attention? Now get your free, quick guide on how to read your profit and loss income statement at profitandlossguide.com, or just click the show notes. There's a link in there for you. What are you waiting for? You're a badass business owner, aren't you?